Stop and imagine this for a moment. You're 80 years old. Most people your age are retired, sleeping until 8 or 9, spending their days watching television, playing cards, waiting. But you wake up at 4 a.m., in the dark, in the cold, and you get to work. Not because you have to, because you refuse to die while you're still breathing. That was Napoleon Hill at 80 years old. While his peers were enjoying their golden years in comfortable retirement, Hill was waking up before dawn, working 12-hour days, writing, teaching, building, creating. People thought he was insane. His doctors told him to slow down. His friends told him to rest. His family told him he'd earned the right to relax. Hill's response was always the same. Retirement is for people who have nothing left to contribute. I still have work to do. And he meant it. From age 77 until his death at 87, Napoleon Hill maintained a daily routine so intense, so disciplined, so uncompromising that it would exhaust most people half his age. And that routine, that refusal to surrender to age or comfort, produced some of his most profound work and teaching. If you stay with me for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to walk you through Hill's exact daily routine at age 80, hour by hour, activity by activity. And I'm going to show you why this routine matters if you're over 50, over 60, over 70, and refusing to fade quietly. Because what Hill proved through his final decade is this: age doesn't diminish your capacity for impact, it increases it, but only if you refuse to retire from purpose. Before we go deeper, comment right now, I refuse retirement from purpose. Because what you're about to learn destroys the comfortable lie that your 70s and 80s should be spent in leisure. Hill proved the opposite. Your final decades, if lived with discipline and purpose, can be your most powerful. Hit like, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss these uncomfortable truths about aging with power, and let's discover Napoleon Hill's daily routine at age 80. Here's how Hill's day started. Every single day, no exceptions. 4 a.m., the alarm rang, not gently, loudly, jarring. Hill believed in shocking his system awake, not easing into consciousness. He said, if you ease into the day, you'll ease through the day, and easing means mediocrity. So the alarm was loud and across the room, forcing him to get out of bed to turn it off. Once up, he never went back to bed. That was a rule. Your feet hit the floor, you're committed to the day. No negotiating with yourself. No, just 5 more minutes. Up means up. From 4 a.m. to 4:15 a.m., Hill did what he called mental calisthenics. He didn't exercise his body first. He exercised his mind. He would sit in complete darkness, in total silence, and he would mentally review his definite major purpose. Not read it, mentally recite it from memory. He had it memorized word for word, and he would repeat it in his mind with total focus, visualizing it as already accomplished, feeling the emotions of achievement. Hill said this 15-minute practice, done in darkness before dawn, set the tone for his entire day. It reminded him why he was awake, what he was building, what mattered. Without this practice, he said, the day would drift. With it, the day had direction. From 4:15 to 5 a.m., Hill read, but not casually. He read with a specific system. He would choose one chapter from one book, usually philosophy or success literature, and he would read it slowly, carefully, with a pen in hand. Not to underline, to argue. Hill believed that passive reading was worthless, so he would read a paragraph, then stop and write his reaction. Agreement, disagreement, application, question. This turned reading into active thinking, and it forced him to engage deeply instead of just consuming information. He said, most people read to fill time. I read to sharpen my mind. There's a difference. At 5 a.m. exactly, Hill would move to what he called his laboratory. This was his writing desk. Nothing else happened at this desk. No eating, no relaxing, only writing. This was sacred space. From 5 a.m. to 8 a.m., 3 full hours, Hill wrote, every single day, no exceptions. Not when he felt inspired, every day, whether inspiration showed up or not. He said, amateurs wait for inspiration. Professionals create on schedule. And his schedule was 5 to 8 a.m., 3 hours, 0 distractions, no phone, no visitors, no interruptions. His wife Annie Lou knew this was non-negotiable time. The world could wait. During these 3 hours, Hill would work on whatever project was current: articles, books, correspondence courses, lectures. But he worked on one thing only: no multitasking, no switching projects, one focus. 3 hours of deep, concentrated effort. Hill said these 3 hours from 5 to 8 a.m. were the most productive hours of his entire day. Why? Because his mind was fresh, the world was quiet, and he hadn't yet been contaminated by other people's problems, opinions, or energy. This was pure creation time, and he protected it ruthlessly. At 8 a.m., Hill would stop writing mid-sentence, literally mid-sentence. He had a rule: stop when you know what comes next. Never drain the tank completely. Always leave something for tomorrow. This kept him eager to return the next morning. He knew exactly where to pick up. No staring at a blank page wondering what to write. He knew, because he deliberately left it unfinished. From 8 to 8:30 a.m., Hill would eat breakfast. And this meal had specific rules. Light food only, no heavy meals, no sugar, no processed food, usually eggs, fruit, and tea. Hill believed that what you ate determined your mental clarity for the day. Heavy food created a heavy mind. Light food created a sharp mind. So breakfast was fuel, not pleasure. From 8:30 to 9 a.m., Hill would exercise, but not the way most people exercise. He didn't go to a gym. He didn't lift weights. He walked. Briskly, outside, rain or shine, cold or heat, didn't matter. He walked for 30 minutes, and during this walk, he didn't listen to anything. No radio, no conversation. He walked in silence, thinking, processing, letting his mind work on problems without forcing solutions. Hill said, "The walk isn't for my body, it's for my mind. Movement creates mental clarity." And he proved it. Some of his best ideas came during these morning walks. Not because he was trying to have ideas, but because he wasn't. From 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 3 more hours, Hill would do what he called contribution work. This was different from writing. This was direct service, mentoring, consulting, correspondence, teaching, helping individuals with specific problems. Hill would spend these 3 hours responding to letters from students, conducting mentoring sessions with protégés, or working on collaborative projects with people like W. Clement Stone. But again, one focus at a time, no scattered attention. When he was with someone, he was fully present. When he was writing a letter, nothing else existed. This depth of focus was Hill's secret weapon. Most people scatter their attention across dozens of things and wonder why nothing gets deep traction. Hill put all his attention on one thing at a time and created profound impact. At 12 p.m., Hill would eat lunch. Another light meal, vegetables, protein, no bread, no sugar, no alcohol. Hill said, "Most people eat lunch, then spend the afternoon in a fog. I eat to maintain clarity, not to feel full." The meal was functional, not recreational. From 12:30 to 1 p.m., Hill would rest, but not sleep. He called this his power rest. He would lie down in a dark room, close his eyes, and consciously relax every muscle in his body while keeping his mind alert. He would breathe deeply and visualize energy flowing through his body. This 30-minute practice, he said, restored him more than 2 hours of sleep. Why? Because he was resting deliberately, not collapsing from exhaustion. There's a difference. From 1 to 4 p.m., Hill would do strategic work. This was different from morning writing or contribution work. This was planning, analyzing, reviewing, thinking about the big picture. What's working? What's not? What needs to change? What opportunities exist? Hill said most people never do this. They're so busy executing that they never step back and think strategically. So they work hard, but don't make progress. Hill refused that trap. 3 hours every afternoon, he would think strategically, not react, think, plan, design. And this practice kept him moving in the right direction instead of just moving. At 4 p.m., Hill would stop all work. Completely. This was another non-negotiable rule. No work after 4 p.m. Why? Because Hill understood that rest is not laziness. Rest is preparation for tomorrow's work. If you work until exhaustion, you start tomorrow depleted. If you stop while you still have energy, you start tomorrow ready. From 4 to 6 p.m., Hill would spend time with Annie Lou. Conversation, connection, presence. No talk about work, no problem solving, just being together. Hill said, "I can work 12 hours because I rest 12 hours. And part of that rest is connection with the person I love." This wasn't wasted time. This was essential time. At 6 p.m., Hill would eat dinner. Again, light. Protein and vegetables. Nothing heavy, nothing that would disrupt sleep. After dinner from 6:30 to 8 p.m., Hill would read for pleasure. Not philosophy, not business. Fiction, history, biography, something completely different from his work. He said, "Your mind needs variety like your body needs variety in exercise. If you only think about one thing, you become narrow. Reading widely keeps you sharp." At 8 p.m., Hill would prepare for sleep. And this was a ritual, not a routine. He would review his day, not to judge, to learn. What went well? What could improve? What did I learn? What will I do differently tomorrow? 10 minutes of honest reflection. Then he would read his definite major purpose statement one final time, visualizing it accomplished, feeling gratitude as if it was already done. This programmed his subconscious mind while he slept. At 8:30 p.m., Hill was in bed. Lights out, no exceptions. Because to wake at 4 a.m., you must sleep at 8:30 p.m. 7.5 hours, consistent, every night. Hill said, "Discipline isn't what you do occasionally. Discipline is what you do consistently. My sleep schedule is as disciplined as my work schedule." That was Hill's daily routine at age 80. Every single day, 7 days a week, no weekends off, no vacation from purpose. People thought he was obsessed. He was, but not with work, with contribution, with making his final years matter, with refusing to fade quietly while he still had something to give. And here's what that routine produced. From age 77 to 87, Hill wrote 3 books, co-authored 2 more with W. Clement Stone, created multiple training programs, mentored dozens of students personally, and influenced millions through his continued teaching and speaking. His partnership with Stone during these years created Success Unlimited magazine and the book Success Through a Positive Mental Attitude, which became another bestseller. Hill didn't slow down at 80, he accelerated. Why? Because his routine gave him the structure to maximize every day while his mind was still sharp and his purpose was still clear. Now here's what makes this relevant to you. If you're over 50, over 60, over 70, society tells you to slow down, retire, rest, enjoy your golden years, reduce stress, take it easy. Every one of those suggestions is designed to make you comfortable. And comfort at any age, but especially in your final decades, is death. Not physical death immediately, but mental death, spiritual death. The death of purpose, drive, and contribution. Hill understood something most people never learn. Your value doesn't decrease with age, it increases, because you finally have what youth lacks: wisdom, perspective, experience, pattern recognition, the ability to see what matters and what doesn't. But that increased value only manifests if you maintain discipline, if you keep a routine, if you refuse to surrender to comfort and ease. The Stoics understood this completely. Marcus Aurelius was leading the Roman Empire, fighting wars, and writing philosophy in his 60s. He didn't retire, he intensified. His daily routine in his final years was more disciplined than in his youth. Why? Because he knew time was limited and every day mattered. Seneca wrote his greatest letters in his 60s while facing political danger and eventual execution. He didn't slow down, he accelerated, writing with urgency because he knew his time was short. Epictetus taught until he couldn't physically teach anymore. No retirement, no easing up, full engagement until the end. They understood what Hill proved. Discipline in your final decades isn't about achievement, it's about dignity. It's about refusing to become a shell of who you were. It's about contributing until you can't. So here's what you need to do if Hill's routine inspired you. You don't need to copy his schedule exactly, but you need the principles behind it. Principle 1, wake early, before the world wakes, before distractions begin. Give yourself sacred time when your mind is fresh and the world is quiet, even if it's just 1 hour. Wake early and use it intentionally. Principle 2, have a non-negotiable creative block. For Hill, it was 5 to 8 a.m. writing. For you, it might be different, but you need time every single day, same time, where you create something. Write, build, design, teach, whatever your contribution is. Do it daily, same time, no exceptions. Principle 3, move your body. Hill walked 30 minutes daily. You need something. Walking, swimming, stretching, yoga, something that keeps your body functional so it doesn't limit your mind. Principle 4, strategic thinking time. Hill did this 1 to 4 p.m. You need it too. Time to step back from execution and think, where am I going? Is this working? What needs to change? Most people never do this and wonder why they're busy but not progressing. Principle 5, stop work while you still have energy. Don't drain yourself completely every day. Stop when you know what comes next. This keeps you eager to return tomorrow instead of dreading it. Principle 6, rest deliberately. Hill's power rest. Your version might be meditation, naps, sitting in silence, but rest with intention, not collapse, not escape. Intentional restoration. Principle 7, consistent sleep schedule. Same bedtime, same wake time, every day. This regulates everything else: energy, focus, mood, health. Sleep discipline creates life discipline. Principle 8, daily review. 10 minutes before bed, what went well? What can improve? What did I learn? This compounds wisdom daily. Now here's what happens when you actually implement these principles. You stop fading. You stop feeling like your best years are behind you. You stop accepting that age means decline. Instead, you become like Hill, more focused, more purposeful, more impactful in your 60s, 70s, 80s than you were in your 30s and 40s. Not because you have more energy, because you have more wisdom and you're using it with discipline. Hill at 80 was more powerful than Hill at 50, not physically, in terms of impact, clarity, contribution. Why? Because he refused to retire from purpose. He maintained a routine that kept him sharp, engaged, and valuable until his final days. And you can do the same. Not with Hill's exact schedule, but with Hill's principles: discipline, routine, purpose, contribution. Refuse to fade. Refuse to retire from meaning. Refuse to accept that your final years should be spent in comfortable decline. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live. Death hangs over you. While you live, while it is in your power, be good." Hill would add, while you live.